Hello to all the viewers watching, and welcome to the most balanced Halo game that doesn't exist. My goals with this series is to express my ideas for the weapon tuning of Halo games and to explain my thought processes / reasonings behind specific things with what they could do / what I would do to specific weapons in an effort to raise friendly discussion and to provide 343 with some community input for how they can change Halo to better suit all the demographics it aims to appeal to. I was also not very happy when it came to the balancing of specific weapons in Halo 5, and so we'll be referring to Halo 5 a lot for certain weapons, using the equivalents from it to compare and contrast to what I would, in order to give further context towards my decisions, at least for the early episodes. This is part 2 of 4 in the series about what I've thought up, a series I'm dubbing Assess and Assist. The objective with this rendition of the BR was to make it fit into the role of a truly versatile weapon, yet not have it fall into the pitfall of being superior to everything else. The BR went from being completely broken in Halo 5 to being made essentially redundant from the Magnum, and whilst this rendition of the BR will still have competition with the Magnum, it will be superior in most circumstances and also be easier to use due to the following. The BR60 would have a red reticle range of 40 meters. It would deal the damage necessary to 14 shot kill within its red reticle range. 12 shield, 2 headshot, 6 body shot, or 1 body plus 1 head. It boasts a fire rate of 877.5 rounds per minute with 0.2 second intervals between bursts. All of these attributes combined give the TTK of 1.37 seconds headshot and 2 seconds body shot. Its magazine capacity is 36 rounds, its reserve capacity is 108 rounds, 1 plus 2 mags, and its max capacity is 252 rounds, 1 plus 6 mags. When it comes to accuracy, this BR would have very minor bloom, with its first shot being perfectly accurate, the second shot having a tiny bit of variation, and the third shot blooming out in a radius similar to the H5 BR's reticle. This wouldn't be a problem until you start pushing the barriers of its base red reticle range. The ADS/Smart Link of this weapon zooms to 2.5 times magnification and extends its red reticle range to 100 beams. Bloom scales relatively with zoom. It would have optional attachments for campaign also, have a draw time of 0.34 seconds, and a reload of 2.1 seconds empty and 1.7 seconds tactical. With regards to recoil, it would have it minor, the recoil bouncing up by 1/8 of its height with every shot and recovering 0.4 seconds after shooting. Recoil does not scale linearly with zoom, meaning that relatively speaking, your recoil will be amplified by 2.5 times while zoomed, making it much less controllable. And its damage would drop off by 2/5 for every increment its red reticle range is doubled. So at 86 meters, it would take 19 bullets, 1.9 seconds to kill on an optimum TTK, etc. This BR is very dissimilar to basically every other one of the past. The most similar one probably being Halo 4's pre-patch BR with its 5 burst kill and minor recoil. Now, everyone hates Halo 4's battle rifle, as do I, so why would I make something similar to it? Well, I've made this battle rifle to be a weapon that you have to truly play well against to beat. Its TTK is only 0.6 seconds slower than the AR's, and so if you miss only a few shots using the AR, then you will get punished by this BR, even if it's within your red reticle range as an AR. However, if you miss even one shot with this battle rifle, or even if you're up against someone who's really good with the AR, then you will likely get destroyed if you are within their red reticle range. That is not the point, however. Once you're further than 22 meters with the battle rifle against an AR player, then the AR player is fair game. When it comes towards its interactions with the Magnum, it basically boils down to this. At the noob level, the BR will absolutely destroy a Magnum user, but at higher level play, the plane will be more even, but only if it's on the Magnum's terms. Basically, it does the same job as any other BR does in the Halo game, except it isn't overly dominant up close and has a lot of balancing in place to stop it from being too powerful at range. It will kill slower and require more skill to use effectively. It is a mid to long range precision weapon and nothing else. It requires you to figure out its quirks to use, but once you do, you've got a tool of destruction at your disposal. This weapon is practically the BR60's M5L, except it is a lot more similar in terms of usage compared to the BR60 and is less dramatic within its differences with the classic versions. It is much more similar to previous renditions of the BR, but still has a few things that make it unique. Its red reticle range would be around 36 meters. This is basically the red reticle range of Halo 5's BR. Its damage would lead to 12 shot kills within its red reticle range, 11 shield, 1 headshot, 5 body shot. Its rate of fire would be 741 rounds per minute, with 0.24 second intervals between bursts. The aforementioned would lead to a TTK of 1.43 seconds headshot and 2 seconds body shot, 4 bursts and 6 bursts respectively. Got the regular magazine capacity of 36 rounds, a reserve capacity of 108 rounds, 1 plus 2 mags, and a max capacity of 252 rounds, 1 plus 6 mags. As for accuracy, it would have very minor spread without reticle bloom, basically Halo 3 without projectiles. ADS/Smart Link would zoom to 2x magnification and extends its red reticle range to 72 meters with its bloom scaling relatively with the zoom. Optional attachments for campaign also. Draw time of 0.34 seconds, reload of 2.1 seconds empty and 1.7 seconds tactical. It's got minor recoil, bounces the reticle up by 1/6 of its height with every shot, recovers 0.3 seconds after shooting. Recoil does scale linearly with zoom, meaning that the recoil will feel the same whilst zoomed, making it much more competitive for noobs at range. Damage drops off by 2/5 for every increment its red reticle range is doubled, so at 64 meters it takes 17 bullets, 2 seconds to kill in an optimum TTK, etc. This weapon is a less skillful yet more faithful version of the BR60. Its lore that I made up in 1 minute was that it's a modification of the classic BR55 done in 2559, hence its different design and slightly different performance, and the M59 in its name. This weapon is designed to be better towards AI and to be easier to use for newer players. The BR60 will generally kill faster than the M59, but the M59 has a less steep learning curve, with its only mechanic requiring any amount of learning being its recoil. But even that is pretty easy, as it recovers faster than the BR60's and is by itself in terms of variables for accuracy. As for situations for its use, it would be much easier to use at range than the BR60 while zoomed, assuming it's within 72 meters. But even then, if you're up against someone who knows how to use the BR60, you'll still die quicker as the M59 still kills slower. Basically, it's better against AI and is easier for noobs, but will be easily defeated at the higher skill levels. The DMR, I've always envisioned it as being a weapon that destroys every other non-power weapon in at least one thing. This is a weapon that a noob can pick up and destroy other noobs with, but also a weapon that has a very dominant place in high skill play. It's like if you mixed both skill levels of the BR60 and the BR55 M59 and mixed it into an entirely different precision weapon. Here's what I mean. It's got a red reticle range of 50 meters. It has the damage to 5-shot kill within its red reticle range, 4 shield, 1 headshot, 2 body shot. Basically identical to Halo 5. It's also got a fire rate of 165 rounds per minute. All of the aforementioned leads to a TTK of 1.45 seconds headshot and 1.8 seconds body shot. A magazine capacity of 15 rounds, reserve capacity of 45 rounds, 1 plus 2 mags, and a max capacity of 90 rounds, 1 plus 5 mags. Its accuracy is perfect. Basically Halo 5, where it has visible aperture within the reticle but recovers before the next shot. ADS/SmartLink zooms between 3 and 6 times magnifications and extends its red reticle range to 120 meters and 160 meters respectively. Draw time 0.38 seconds, reload 2.51 seconds empty, 1.28 seconds tactical. As for recoil, it has substantial recoil. The reticle bounces by 3/4 of its length with every shot, and the recovery time is 0.29 seconds, meaning that the reticle will rise during sustained fire. With its recovery time, it basically means the reticle rises by 1/4 its radius with every shot unless they are paced. This means that a practical rate of fire at range is having 0.29 second intervals between shots. Raised skill ceiling and all. If you're wondering why I have not gone as in-depth with other weapons in this regard, it is because I don't like them as much. Damage drops off by 1/6 for every increment its red reticle range is doubled, so at 100 meters it takes 6 bullets, 1.9 seconds to kill an optimum TTK, etc. So what does this all mean? Is it a carbon copy of Halo 5's just recoil and a slightly faster fire rate? Basically. With this project I saw 2 things, either substantially change the DMR or the magnum. I chose the magnum because that weapon was more broken than the DMR ever was. The changes I've made to the DMR has really just been to make it more effective for all levels of play. If you're a noob, you're just going to spam shots at closer ranges to compensate for recoil. The mid-tier player who's going to pace shots at longer range, and the high-tier player who's going to learn the recoil and use it effectively at range at max fire rate. Due to this, I gave it a little bit of damage fall off to make sure it does not kill too fast at range, but then gave it the faster fire rate to make sure noobs have a reason to use it, and more importantly, to get better with it when you mix the pacing. I kept the 2-shot body shot for the same reason as the increased fire rate. When it came to the shotgun of this theoretical Halo game, I wanted to take notes from the Halo 4 shotgun. If you've ever watched my video called Halo 4 is the best Halo game and you cannot convince me otherwise, don't worry, that name is a joke. You may have seen parts in it in which I use this shotgun. You may also notice that most of those clips are within the same map. I got 43 kills that match. I went 43 and 2. Of those 43, one was a melee kill in which I stole the H4 shotgun from an enemy and got more ammo for it from requisitions, 2 were assassinations, and 1 was from a needler. I love that thing, and so I've basically made this shotgun a better version of that thing. Let's begin. It's equipped with a red reticle range / 1-hit kill range of 9.5 meters. Its damage is a 1-shot kill within its red reticle range, assuming at least 8 pellets hit. It fires at 52 rounds per minute. The TTK is instant, depends heavily upon range, and holds a magazine capacity of 8 rounds, a reserve capacity of 20 rounds, 1 plus 2 mags, and a max capacity of 32 rounds, 1 plus 4 mags. As for accuracy, one pellet will always go in the center of the crosshair, imagine this as being the wad of the shell, and the crosshair is about the size of Halo 4's shotgun and apertures when fired, but recovers before the next shot. The shotgun also fires 12 pellets per shot. No ADS/smart link. Draw time 0.44 seconds, reload 0.5 seconds per shell, handling is 1.6 seconds, minimum equals 2.2 seconds, maximum equals 5.6 seconds. Recoil, very heavy recoil, but recovers before the next shot. Basically, all visual for the feels. Damage falls to less than lethal past 9.5 meters and will continue to pop shields up to 15 meters assuming all pellets hit, which they run at this range. So, this shotgun is like if the Oatsworth from Halo 5 had unprotected boinkage with the M90 cores from Halo CE, but also had an affair with its cousin, the Halo 4 shotgun, in the process, with this coming out afterwards. I've made some of these changes in order to extend the effective range of the Halo 4 shotgun, among other things. Why? Because the shotgun is never really shown as much as I think it should. You always had to have some sort of plan to stay in some sort of environment in order to stay effective with it, which I don't think you should have to do, at least to the extent that you have to with basically every other rendition of the Halo shotgun previous. I've also tried to make it more consistent, so instead of going from one shot to shield tickler within 0.1 meters, it does some work even after that 9.5 meter distance. Reducing the pellet count from 15 to 12 was also done to do that, as it's an even number and has less variables than 15, whilst still remaining forgiving. I tightened the spread for the same reason, but also to make it more skillful as you have to think about where you aim more. I also decreased the fire rate a little bit from 58ish rounds per minute to 52 rounds per minute, so the shotgun isn't a direct upgrade from nearly everyone previous. Putting it at 52 rounds per minute actually gives it the slowest fire rate of any shotgun in Halo. As for the 8 round capacity, it's a middle ground between the Halo 5 and Halo CE shotguns, which I just saw fitting. Why? I don't know. It just feels right. Well, regardless, we've come to the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed watching. Be sure to comment your thoughts and subscribe if you want more. I'll be sure to see you in the next one, where we cover the intermediate power weapons of this theoretical Halo game. If you have not watched the previous episodes, then you probably should for some context. But, yeah. See you in the next one.